All right. It is shoulder day. And it is a beautiful day outside. Not too bright. I think it's like 70 degrees out right now here in Florida, which is like so nice. Humidity's under control. It's not insanely bright like it was yesterday. It's Sunday, and we are getting to the gym a bit earlier in comparison to yesterday. So we're off to a good start so far. I believe we are on the precipice of what is going to be a very good workout. But we're not here to talk about the workout right now. We're going to talk about the pre-workout discussion. Speaking of pre-workout, I've already had my pump potion, creatine, electrolytes, and pre-workout. You can see by me scratching my eyes, I'm already primed and ready to go. But the pre-workout topic of discussion today is going to be protein. Protein, the macronutrient. There's 3 macronutrients. There's protein, lipids or fats, and carbohydrates. Let's talk about protein. Protein is going to be what your body utilizes to repair, reinforce, and strengthen tissue that has been broken down by one way or another. The tissue that we're going to be discussing, or that we're constantly discussing as gym goers, is muscle tissue. As you work out your muscle and introduce it to load or weight repetitively via reps, that muscle on a microscopic level tears fibrously. An insignificant amount for you to actually notice, as far as, like your biceps not going to tear off your arm or anything like that, but you will experience on a microscopic level injury, but it's good injury because when it heals back stronger and larger, so that the likelihood of that muscle tearing as much again under the same amount of weight is less likely, so that your body can adapt more beneficially to the weight that you've been using to work out. And your body does that by utilizing protein. That's why protein is such an important macronutrient when it comes to going to the gym, bodybuilding, building muscle, that kind of thing. Now, sources of protein you might think are going to be meat. And some of the best sources of protein are meat. That's kind of subjective, open to interpretation, depending on what kind of source you're looking for. I happen to think that beef is the best source of protein because it's very protein dense, but it also has naturally occurring creatine as well as other vitamins inside that meat that is going to benefit you in growing your muscle. But some people may not like the added cholesterol or sodium or fat that is sometimes found in certain cuts of red meat. And so they might tell you that chicken is the best form of protein because it's the purest, most leanest form of protein. I'm not really going to argue with anyone on what the best form of protein is because, like I said, it's really dependent on who you are and what you're trying to achieve and what your nutritional philosophy is. But I will tell you that as far as the topic of growing muscle and gaining weight goes, hands down, without a doubt, red meat is the way to go. Notice I said red meat, not red fat. So if I had to choose between picking a ribeye that was marbled with a bunch of fat, or a sirloin, which is typically a leaner cut of meat, but as a result not quite as tender, I'm going to pick the sirloin. If I had to choose between 93% lean, 7% ground beef, or 85% lean and 15% ground beef, I'm choosing the leaner cut, because when it comes to fat, I'm just not that crazy about beef fat. That's just me, though. I do think some beef fat is essential because of the added nutrients that it has in comparison to other forms of fat, but we'll save that for the fat discussion. Now, when it comes to metabolizing protein is a bit of a hog when it comes to water. And to be fair, all of the macronutrients require a really decent amount of water in order to digest, okay? I want you to take a piece of meat, a piece of bread, and I want you to put them, or a potato, put them both in a tub of water, separate tubs of water, and count how many days it takes for that piece of meat or that potato to become completely soggy to the point where it's just falling apart in the room temperature water. It'll take the piece of meat a very long time because of how much water the protein molecules are used to utilizing and how much they take up to properly metabolize. You always see these bodybuilders carrying around a big jug of water. There could be a number of reasons as to why they're carrying around a big jug of water. But one of the reasons why water intake is stressed so much in the muscle building, bodybuilding, sports, whatever, is because in order to properly metabolize, 200, 150, 250 grams of protein on a daily basis, you need to make sure that you're intaking a significant amount of water. Your body's going to use that water to break down, digest, mobilize, and utilize those protein molecules that have been broken down into amino acids, quite frankly, so that your body can use them to repair muscles and tissues. Speaking of amino acids are DNA and RNA. They're the, double helix looking ladders that you always see on charts and graphs whenever you see or hear someone talking about DNA. Your body utilizes protein molecules, breaks them down into amino acids, and now they have those strands of DNA that your body can then break down and reconstruct into replicated strands of DNA of the tissue that was broken down, so that your body can then, properly rebuild that tissue and not have it turn into like the incorrect kind of tissue. This is also beneficial for other things like, bone development, bone density. Obviously, calcium is really important when it comes to bone health. And so, yeah, just make sure you're getting your protein in. Now, sources of protein vary. We talked about how, I feel like red meat is the best form of protein. But you also have eggs, which eggs are a great source of protein. They're also a great source of cholesterol if you're eating the yolk. But if you want a little bit of a kind of bodybuilding hack, a little bit of a bodybuilding kind of secret, if you're going to eat eggs, even if you're cooking like 10 of them, I know this is going to be a pain in the ass, try to eat the egg yolk sunny side up. Try not to let the yolk get cooked all the way. It's a lot easier for your body to digest it when it's like that, and it'll digest it much quicker. The benefit of eating the egg yolk versus egg whites is that the egg yolk contains cholesterol, which is beneficial for hormone development, but again, we're going to save that bit for the, fat macronutrient discussion. The egg yolk contains a significant amount of amino acid. Why is that important? Well, the egg yolk initially, because it wasn't fertilized, initially is designed to house a baby chicken to help it grow into being, from a small cell to a chick. And so that yolk is basically like primed. It's like a little ball of growth, kind of. So if you can eat a significant amount of egg yolks on a daily basis, certainly don't make your entire protein intake from egg yolks. That would be beneficial. I'm not surprised that the person driving like ass next to me is a Nissan Altima, but we won't talk about that. So yeah, egg yolks. Egg yolks are really important. They're a great source of protein. If you're trying to get not necessarily bigger, but you are trying to get stronger, and you're trying to get the muscle that you currently do have to be a little bit more well-performing as far as, endurance, strength, not cramping up, egg yolks is phenomenal. Another form of protein is fish. Now, fish is really good because it's a very lean form of protein. So if you're really not looking to get any of the extra calories that come along with eating the fat that other forms of protein come with, like peanut butter, beef meat, pork. I would not recommend pork as a source of protein, though, if you're bodybuilding. That's just me. Fish is excellent, especially if you're tired of eating chicken, because as good of a source of protein as chicken is, because of how lean it is and as low calorie as it is, it's a bitch to eat, man. Like, you have to really cook it meticulously in order for it to be kind of chewable. Otherwise, it'll dry out like a motherfucker. And then when you reheat it, in your lunchbox or whatever, it's going to be really tough to get down. You're probably going to need to drink twice as much water on a daily basis as what you may already be drinking. So we got chicken, we got egg yolks, fish, beef. Peanut butter is it's an okay source of protein. I would almost say that peanut butter would be a better source of fat than protein. It's incredibly high in calorie for its density. And majority of that is going to be from the fat that peanut butter has. Also, when it comes to peanut butter, you want to make sure that the brand or the type of peanut butter that you're getting is real peanut butter. There's a lot of big names out there that have opted to, instead of using like actual peanuts to make peanut butter, they make kind of like this creamy, gooey concoction. They call it peanut butter, but really it's just peanut butter flavored with like some peanuts, and it's not ideal from a bodybuilding standpoint. It's ideal from a tasty standpoint, sure, but anything else, I wouldn't spend much time on it. And then we've got protein powder. All right, so there's flavorless protein powders out there that are going to give you the most grams of protein per gram of powder with little to no carbs. I don't know off the top of my head if there's carbless protein powder. I'm pretty sure if it is, it tastes terrible, regardless of what you mix it in. When it comes to protein powder, okay, it is a supplement. Your protein supplements, any supplement for that matter, should not exceed, more than 50%, more than 49% of your daily intake of that macronutrient. So if you need 200 grams of protein per day, you should not be taking in a protein shake that's 100 grams or more. Because then it's no longer a supplement, it's the majority of your intake. And so that really that really kind of messes with your digestion. And it kind of predisposes you to some poor dietary habits. Really what you want to do is 25% of your daily macro, 25% of your macro requirement, protein macro requirement, should be from supplements, minimum 25. If you can get it all from food, that's great, but it's very difficult when you're eating high amounts of protein to eat that much. And so that's why we use protein shakes, because it kind of helps us to get our macros in when otherwise there's just not enough time in the day to eat that much chicken, or I can't eat that much steak because then I'll go over my calorie count, what have you. So if you do a protein shake, I highly suggest, especially if you're on a bulk, putting it in whole milk, but not just any whole milk. Fairlife. Fairlife is probably, I think it's the highest gram of protein per cup of milk that you can get in the grocery store right now. Most milks, even whole milks, are going to be 7 to 8 grams. Fairlife is going to be approximately 12 to 14 grams of protein per cup. It's pretty insane. So that's my little spiel on protein. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We're at the gym now. Let's go crush shoulders.